we can
Artificial intelligence,
because that is important.
employment and economic
And thank you,
development.
Professor Sen. Professor Sen has artificial intelligence is a substitute for human intelligence, so we are scared that it will take away human jobs. However, artificial intelligence makes production processes more efficient. So we guess that artificial intelligence can contribute to economic development. Okay. So let's see whether artificial intelligence and robots. Then I'm going to examine why we are so bothered about the emergence of artificial intelligence. I'm going to call it AI from now on. Okay. And obviously, AI, some workers fear will take away their jobs, and it will not only rob them of their incomes, it can impact them psychologically. But I'm going to dwell on these issues at length. Then I'm going to look at how, in the real world, robots have impacted agriculture, industry, and services. And from the real world, I will go back to the ivory tower and see how economists look at the economic impact of robotization. So I'm going to look at some empirical studies carried out by some very well-known economists on the economic impact of robotization. And finally, I'm going to uh, look at the implications for policy. This is something that I have developed a little bit on my own, and it is there in my book on robotization, entitled "Robotization and Economic Development." But it should these recommendations should be discussed further. So going on to the next slide, what is AI? AI is that faculty of machines which produces human-like. Why are we so bothered about uh, the emergence of AI or robots and all that? And as I said, the idea is that if robots can replicate human capabilities of cognition and uh, calculation, then surely they will take away jobs from humans. Okay, uh, that is not so bad if the welfare state can compensate humans for their jobs lost. But we also have to take into account the psychological impact of jobs lost, and there is some literature according to on this topic, that work provides us time structure, identity, and a sense of purpose. In a sense that if I go to work, I have a timetable in front of me, and I get a sense of achievement in sticking to the timetable. It provides me also with a sense of identity. Human fears about automation didn't just start with the emergence of robots. That was a quite old human fears about automation. And there were these Luddites who were weavers and textile workers who started breaking machinery in the 18th century in Great Britain because they perceived machinery to be a threat to their jobs. However, if we examine the impact of automation on employment, we have to start with the Industrial Revolution. And we see that Industrial Revolution did not actually cause unemployment. And why is this wave of automation embodied in the emergence of artificial intelligence? We cannot. The real reason for that is that conventional machines and humans are complements. You need humans to operate conventional machines, while robots can often function independently of humans for extended periods of time. From this, there is another thread, this new strand of artificial intelligence, recent new strand of artificial intelligence is called machine learning. Okay, usually what is done is that if you want a robot to replicate a task which is being done by a human, you basically write down the steps undertaken by a human to perform a task, and then you write down a computer program for the robot to replicate these steps. But there are many tasks which we accomplish in our life where we ourselves do not know the steps. For example, face recognition. We see our friend, say, 10 years from the last time we've seen him, and immediately we recognize. Okay? Okay, how do we do that? How does the brain do that? We path, it gets negative points. If it bangs into another car, it gets negative points. If it doesn't bang into anything and reaches the finish line, it gets positive points. So this is how you teach a computer system or a robot to drive a car, and this is known as reinforcement learning. Positive actions are reinforced by positive rewards. Negative actions are discouraged through negative rewards, or you can call them punishments. Okay. Right now I've been emphasizing the negatives of the impact of robotization on employment, but there's always a silver lining, and so it is important to emphasize what sort of jobs will be there. And I think that those jobs that require common sense, emotional intelligence, and varied background knowledge, those will be statistics of the extent of human fears about robotization. A Pew Research Center carried out a survey in 2015 in the United States, and it concluded that 1 out of every 10 workers had concerns about losing their jobs to computers and robots. Okay. This was due to skill redundancy. In 2019, CNBC survey Monkey Poll showed that 27% of workers were apprehensive to losing their jobs to technology. Fortune survey Monkey Poll conducted in 2018 showed that 72% of people expected AI to destroy more jobs than it would create in the next 10 years. Okay, now, however, I feel that there are some ways in which robots can contribute to an increase in industry and services, because we want to know, how robotization can impact economic development positively. So, in developed countries, it has been found that robotic arms are more efficient than humans in doing the following: fruits, wheat picking, pruning of vines, etc. Okay, these robots can do these tasks very efficiently, and AI is also being used to examine the needs of plants and look at the needs of the soil. He has a task on hand. He might actually want to train robots instead of humans if the robots can do a fair job. One is that robots are uniform, so they can be an army of robots can be programmed at one go. If an army of humans, a robot can do this job of manufacture, then what happens? There is reshoring. The jobs in Bangladesh are lost, and the production which would have taken in place in Bangladesh now takes place in Europe or in the US. Okay, so robotization has led to reshoring. Surveys show that many American companies and 1 in 6 manufacturers in the UK are undertaking reshoring. Robots to the services sector. Okay, they have been being employed across the board, as you can see on my slide: retail, restaurants, hotels, journalism, painting and music composition. Okay, I don't have the time to elaborate on this, but one thing I will point out is that there is a general trend for AI to reduce working hours. You will see TAR and talking about the impact of robotization as captured in economic literature. And I think Keynes wrote an article, I don't remember the exact title, but it was something about what is going to happen to our grandchildren or something. And Keynes was very optimistic, and he said that technological advancement would lead to a huge increase in standard of living. Was Keynes right? First of all, Keynes seems to assume a well-developed welfare state where those who would be rendered unemployed would be adequately compensated. But if you look at the US data, some of Keynes' predictions have not borne fruit. Hourly wage for men recently graduated from high school dropped by as much as 25% in the US in the period 1979 to 2011. Okay, so maybe the reason for this is that though there are tendencies to accelerate GDP growth, there are other tendencies which actually pull down estimates of GDP. And then there are these free goods, for example, music, movies, and documentaries. 1993 to 2007, industrial robots grew at a staggering pace of something like 10.4% per annum. And Boston Consulting Group predicts that in the last slide, I didn't quite realize that actually I'd come to the last slide. But here is a little bit of some policy recommendations I have here. And okay, so the major consequence of robotization is the displacement of simultaneously impose robotaxis in various countries. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So with this,